Welcome and welcome back to Stories and Stationery, y'all. Thanks so much for being with me today as I walk through my project planner. Listen, I have had a major eureka moment recently. And when I say eureka, it is the first time in 5 years that I think I have a planning system that captures just how busy I am. I am using this gorgeous espresso. I'm calling it espresso. That's not how it's pronounced. Espresso vegan lizard folio from Cloth and Paper. I am in the HP Classic size. This is the Avant Garde Cloth and Paper adjustable notebook pen holder. And this is my setup, y'all, along with my workhorse planner, which we walked through last time. This is going to be the key that will unlock some peace, some productivity, and some joy for me in 2026. I want to give my shout outs as usual. Shout out to Whitley LaFloria, my fire manicurist. Today we are doing a shorter natural nail. As always, cuticles perfectly healthy. You know, we were in the bronze gorgeousness during the holiday season, and this time we have kind of a smoky blue gray with a little bit of razzle dazzle. So this is a double French with the nude natural nail. It's just a little bit. As always, Mr. Stanley stays holding me down. Today he is in pink. This is, I believe, the pink shimmer. My program manager gifted me this for the holidays. And I am also having some Martinellis because hydration is important. Please, if this is the kind of content that you're interested in, like and subscribe. Tell your neighbor and a friend about how much fun we have here. It is the only way that busy bees like you and me will ever take notice of the channel. All right, let's get into it. So I am trying something a little different today, planner besties. I am using my MacBook Pro's desk view because I found that when I film with my phone, it's really difficult in order to get everything that I need in frame for the HP Classic. HP Classics are pretty big. Let me tell you what the size is. I actually purchased a pack of HP Classic blank paper. I love the title of the company, Sort Out My Life Word. This is paper that you can use in order to print out any kind of HP Classic inserts that you may find online, that you may purchase from Canva, or that you may design using Canva or any kind of or Adobe Photoshop or any kind of word processing. Nope, that's not what I wanted to say. Any kind of design programming. So anyway, let's get right into my personal business. So for my project planner, I am using the Cloth and Paper Avant Garde. This is a Avant Garde, so I keep calling it by their proprietary names. This is a black notebook pouch and pen holder. So it's like a band. I like to call these planner bands or journal bands. Those of you who have been in the planning and journaling community much longer than I have, you probably already know what these are called. But I like this one for the larger notebooks. It doesn't work as well, in my opinion, on my smaller notebooks. I originally purchased this for CP Petite, and it just dwarfed the notebook for me. But for the larger sizes like half letter and for, of course, HP Classic, this is perfect. I do have inside, I have tucked one of the little cloth and paper, it's not that little, the cloth and paper tweezers, sticker tweezers, just because I may be wanting to plan on the go. or I might need to tweeze something or someone. Okay, I'm just kidding. I won't tweeze anyone. Um, all right, so these are my 3 pens for my project planner, but I also have another plan that I'm going to use with that. I do have the Pentel Energel. You've seen these in so many of my videos. The burgundy, I purchased bunches of these so I could have them all year long. I do have a black friction pen that you've seen. And then I also have a Muji 0.5 pen. I began using the Muji pens back when I was in the Happy Planner community. Let me know in the comments what kinds of pens are your go-to favorites for on-the-go planning. We're going to set that aside and we're going to get into where I have gone with my project planner since I last showed you glimpses of what I'm doing. So this is how I'm ending January. And I'm really pleased with the way in which the decorations or the decorative elements came together. I have refined this front element just to have pink and blush, that sort of fig milk, Bordeaux um, sort of colorway. This is rose gold or brass. I would say copper. Maybe copper's a better color. Nothing much has changed from when I did the tour of this before. I did take away the smoked salt clip, so I thought I could use that better elsewhere. I just really love this setup. It just looks really good, especially with the chocolate. Moving it from the black or avant-garde lizard folio to the espresso brown lizard vegan folio has really made this all pop and come together. So there aren't any changes to really show you here. This is just some decor that I got from a few planner companies that I've purchased from recently in order to get dashboards and stickers. I'll talk about these really, really soon. And shout out to Rosie Life Planners. So I think that all 3 of these stickers are from them. Let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect. And I just stuck them in here. So as I get stickers or ephemera and I'm not really sure where to put them, this just really worked for now, at the beginning of the year. I like mixing all kinds of elements together. So you have the kind of cartoon Murakami flower and anime, the bubble letters, but then you have the very elegant rose dividers from Jane's Agenda, and then you have the minimal elements from cloth and paper. All right, but I'm not here to talk about decorating. I'm really here to talk about how a professor plans, especially someone who is also a graduate program chair. So let's get into it. I figured out what I was doing only about 9 days ago. I have not really used a project planner over the past few years, although I've set them up. Most notably, last year I tried twice and things didn't work. And so I did some soul searching to figure out, hey, what do you really need to do in order to track your projects? And so I said, you know what? It would be nice to have a place to info dump everything and just everything that I need to do within the next 4 to 6 months. Can I just put that down on paper? And so on MLK Day, especially because the weather was absolutely terrible here, I decided, let's just go for it. Let's dump everything out. I already knew from my setup that I was going to want to have some kind of year, month, week division of my work. I am already in the horizontal weekly for my workhorse planner. You did see that. So I'm keeping up with my days. And much of what's on that planner that I take with me on the go, especially to work, is appointments, courses, meetings, and need to do items that I deal with on a daily and weekly basis, but that I don't have any control over. What I found was that my background work, the things that have longer lead times, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, a few years, were completely getting lost in the sauce, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. That was 6 years ago now. So I have been having trouble getting my feet under me, especially since the last 5 years. So the pandemic was 6 years ago. I took my new job 5 years ago. So I became a professor here. And then I became program chair 5 years, not 5 years ago, 3 years ago. So 653. It's just been a long time. And so I wanted to chat my way through my system. I did share it on the Cloth and Paper Insiders Facebook group, and I'm hopeful that this will help someone else, especially if I break it down. So this is just the my projects tab. I covered up the year tab. I have the year, this year, it's this year, this week, this month, or today. I think this is today, this week, this month. And I don't need a today tab because I am not in a daily planner here, but I could just grab this so I can just think about my projects, the major projects that I have. I did decide to decorate this with the Reboot journaling card. I did show you that in my last video where I talked about my January haul, and the key for all the major categories of projects or work that I need to keep up with, and that there are not external forces really bearing on me. My program is English and Education. I have to do that work because I'm the person who is supposed to be keeping up with everything and tracking everything. For teaching, I'm the person who needs to set the agenda and the curriculum. For the handbook that I am editing with 2 colleagues, I have a slew of editorial tasks. For NCTE, this area may morph into service. I'm a member of several professional organizations that have tasks that need to be done. And then finally, I have a couple of book manuscripts that I say I'm working on, but they keep getting pushed to the back burner. I am going to show you how I got to inbox zero for the first time last week since I got here. So here is what I decided to do on MLK Day. So this was on January 19th. So I've just done this fairly recently. I'm filming this 1 week later. So I took a Post-it. I still am in the plain Jane Scotch 3M Post-its. I think whatever those regular Post-its are that are pretty cheap, but you know, the ones where you have a lot of room to write. And I said, what are the categories that your work falls in? And so this is pretty much my work life outside of, meetings and some other things that other people put on my Google Calendar that I need to track. So I have work as a chair. I have work as a research handbook editor. I have classes that I am teaching now and that I will teach in the near future. I am a member of a profession and we have professional work to do. And I'm also an author because in the academy, the old saying was, you publish or you perish. And so I have a couple of books that I'm working on. One is an edited volume and one is my next solo authored book. And so I jotted all this down. And then I decided to just use my yearly overview sheets. That is what this is coming from, the Cloth and Paper year overview sheets, and truly map out what it is I need to do each quarter. So for my work as a chair, this month I am chairing or running admissions. So that's swimming along. I have gone through all of that. We're nearing the end of the process. Next month, I need to have a meeting with every single graduate student in my program, along with their advisor or their dissertation chair. And then I need to check in with everyone who is all but dissertation. That means a PhD candidate, ABD, in academic parlance. And I need to check in with them and find out, well, how are things going? What do you need? What are your plans for completing the dissertation and graduating? I also will be launching the qualifying exams for folks that are about to begin work on the dissertation. And so it felt very good to actually see this on paper. And so I went, okay, January, February, March, that makes sense. Then I am nearing a deadline for the Rutledge Handbook of Research on Diversity in Children's and Young Adult Literature. And I'm co editing that with Pat Ciso at Ohio State and Sarah Park Dolan at Illinois. And so we are charged with submitting that entire handbook with lots and lots and lots and lots of authors at the end of the semester. Of course, we're nearing our work on that, or nearing completion of our work on that. But I needed to sort of chunk that out. So what phase of the work falls into each month? Next, I am also teaching. So I'm an administrator, but I also am teaching. I teach either one or two courses a semester. I know that I am super duper privileged because most university faculty have to teach far more. So, along with my other administrative duties, I am still teaching and mentoring students. I'm teaching a research course, and for part of their work, they're going to be doing labs in the city of Detroit at an arts entrepreneurship organization, as well as our local Cradle to Career campus. And so I wanted to chunk that out for January. We'll be launching in January because of the cold weather. We've had to move this to February 6th. But I've been on it, contacting everyone, and I'll show you how I've been able to do it. The next month, once my course is underway, I need to remember to work on my syllabus revision for a fall course that I'm going to be teaching. It is an advanced qualitative methods course. It's on discourse analysis. I need to revise that syllabus. I know exactly what I want on there, but making the time in February instead of a week before the school year starts in August is the way. This is goals. And then finally, there is a course that I've been invited to teach in 2027, and I have a doctoral student with expertise in that area. So we're going to maybe begin work toward this second half of the semester on that. So there's my teaching work. Next, I have the work that I'm doing for service to the profession. Generally, we volunteer for our professional organizations to keep them going. I have a couple of areas of work here. I will be submitting proposals for a bunch of young adult authors who have run the Black Roundtable for the past 7 years. So I want to make sure I get their proposal in. And then I just generally go to the conference and I support former students. I get to see colleagues. I get to go to sessions. It's great. It's very invigorating. I've also been asked to write alongside my grad students a policy research brief. And we're going to turn it in the summer, but that means that we need to begin work now. So we needed to submit proposals. That's tomorrow. And then begin our work on the research brief. I have a team of 4 grad students who will be working on this. I have one grad student who's very senior. He's a 5th year. He's going to run the project, but I want to check in with the team once a month. Next, I have what I should be doing, what I should be writing, alongside all the cares of running the department. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to see that in a minute. I need to be writing myself. And so I've given myself some writing deadlines. See, that's how it works. Now, I want to be honest with you. Most of the time, for most people, and for me, we leave things here. We list out what we have to do, but it is more difficult to break down our goals or to break down the steps. So for admissions, this was a bunch of different steps. I needed to arrange an admissions meeting. I needed to work with my program manager and our managing director to grab all the files. All the files needed to be sorted. I needed to direct myself and faculty to our School of Graduate Studies holistic admissions criteria so we can make sure that we are following university procedure because you want to be objective in your reading. Then I needed to go through and do a first review read as chair to make sure that all applicants had followed our instructions and, just to be honest, met all the admissions criteria. So if you don't have your bachelor's degree or you're in your second year of your undergrad degree and you're applying to grad school, you'd be surprised at how many people do that. You really need to have an earned bachelor's degree. And since our grad students begin teaching right away, you also have to have a master's degree. So we look for those 2 degrees. So that kind of thing. You need to figure that out. And I'm not revealing any big secrets. This is all on our website. And, at least I hope I'm not, throwing out state secrets here. So this has a lot of steps to it. Let me show you how I've decided to chunk out all of my work and to time block. And it's not necessarily using the cloth and paper time blocking system, I have to admit. I'm using some of their other things. All right. For the monthly admin calendar, I thought this is a good way to track deadlines and your key dates so that you see how you're making progress on your milestones. So let me move this frosted divider. This says this month. So most of the action this month was in the second half of the month because of the holidays. So holiday break was the first partial week. Classes resumed on the 7th. I taught my first class of the semester on the 8th, and then we were really in the swing of things during this part of the this part of the month, the second half of the month. So starting the week of the 12th, I did get the monthly admin Monday start, but because I'm not going to just trash things just because it's the wrong thing, because it's undated, I just decided to use my little handy dandy Tombow original correction tape, and I just put the days in the way that they usually go on traditional calendars. So here are my key dates, and I decided to use my clean color dot markers to mark off in approximately the kind of color code that I'm using here to mark off when everything was due or when I had key meeting dates. I have a talk in 2 days, so that'll be on the 28th, and that falls under my personal, like my writing. Part of what I'm doing for the talk is going to hopefully feed into my next book. So yeah, so that is NCTE proposals, and we had a winter retreat, so I get to see the progress that I'm making month by month. And then this weekend, I'm going to set up the February calendar. So that is what I'm doing for monthly admin. I will admit, I really haven't put anything on the back here that may change in future months. All right. Then the real superstar is my weekly tab. So of course, I used my own labeler for week. I think I showed you this in a different video. I'm trying to remember which order I posted. This is the Ivy Lee method that I will be using. So let's go down to center stage. When we use the Ivy Lee method, you begin by writing all your miscellaneous tasks of the week. That means that you task dump. You then prioritize and assign 6 tasks for day 1. So, sometimes if you have a task list, usually mine are 30 or 40 things a week. And if you look at them all at once, it is super daunting. You will not get done. You'll get demoralized. But if you say, okay, I'm just going to do 6 things a day, you actually get through things. I found that out last week, which is why I'm filming this video. And so you start your day by focusing only on task one, and then you move to the next task only after finishing the current one. And then you repeat, you carry things over to the next day. And then you might want to do weekend priorities. You can use this in other ways. You'll see how I did last week. And then this is, of course, the cloth and paper, example. So, update planner, prep for meeting, 11 a.m. Zoom call, plan content, exercise break, write blog article, respond to emails, and sometimes you don't finish everything as you're supposed to. So they just gave us the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let me come out of center stage for a moment so you can see. This was last week, and I got all this stuff done. I know sometimes in the planner community, my planner besties talk about, "Well, I'm not really sure how to use a planner. Or I'm not really busy." I've had times in my life where I'm less busy than others. I am greatly looking forward to retirement. I'll be 50 next year. So, oh, my friends, I'll have another 15 years to work. I really do want to retire at 65. If, the Lord says the same and blesses me with life and strength for that long, I got to get out of here because I'm busy all the time during the work week. So, because there was really nothing really sensitive, I felt like I could show you my Ivy Lee. This is the system for me, good people. I am able to both task dump an entire list of stuff, and also, this is what I did day by day. And I didn't do 6 things every day all the time, but I did do 6 things most days. You can kind of see where and you can see I have a lot of chair stuff. And then I should add to my chair stuff personal. So let me add. I'm going to add, oh, by the way, I'll tell you what these pens are in a second. Or what pens I'm using. I need to add a 6th category because I have bunches of personal stuff that I had to do for everything from junk collection to everything else. So excuse the terrible handwriting there. This is not meant to be my best handwriting. This is not meant to be a page that I make pretty with flags or stickers or washi tape. I do that in my other planners. This is a project planner where I'm really going to be actively working through what it is I have to do for my profession. So here is my color scheme. I am using, for now, that super expensive, why did you buy this, Louis Vuitton Murakami 2025 pencil case. So this is one of their, I believe it's the Charlotte pencil case, Takashi Murakami. And I was like, why did you buy this? And so because it's special, these are the places where I keep my colored friction pens that I am using on my project planner. I have a set that I will keep at work because I do take this with me in my backpack, and I have a set that I keep at home. And if they're all in here, then they won't get floated around with my other pens. Also, since it's erasable, I felt this won't damage things quite as much. So last week, what I did was on Monday, this is where I was when I first task dumped. And then as the week went on, I was task dumping more things here. So I'll just go over this side. I won't go over this stuff because it's super specific stuff that came up during the week. I knew I had to finish reading my applications. I'd already started, this is a multi-week process. I needed to color code our sheet because you have to do things first when you are the administrator. I send out weekly chair notes and I just realized I didn't do it. So everyone's going to get a really late one. I had my nephews for 4 days unexpectedly. And so I was kind of thrown off a bit. This is the Rutledge GSRA invitation. So I need to invite people to be part of Rutledge, which is the handbook, and then setting up meetings with one of our doc students in order to work on things because he's the editorial assistant, read and respond to authors' second drafts. There are, I think, 18 chapters in my section, and everyone is either on the first or second draft. And the second draft authors need they need some feedback. Then outline my chapter. We pivoted because I'm going to do an overview of thinking about sort of some of the book bans and curricular restrictions that have happened since 2020 and 2021. So that's a chunk of work. Oh, I should be telling you what colors. So my chair work and personal is coated black, so it's friction. Usually this is time sensitive stuff, and I have lots of black friction pens, and I did a lot of erasing, and so this just worked really, really well. So I wasn't always having to use my Tombow or correction taper fluid. My project work with others or collaborative work, right now my main project there is Rutledge. That'll be coated red. Now I'm on to my teaching. Blue is one of my major colors for the university where I work, and so I'm using the blue friction there. These are some of the lab tasks that I needed to do. The class is already going along fine. We're heading into week 4. I think this is week 4. Let me make sure. I know it doesn't really matter for the purposes of the video, but I want to be accurate. Let's go back to month. This is why this is so lovely. Yeah, we started this week 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this will be the 4th week I've taught because my class started on the 8th, and the next time will be the 29th. All right. So things are going swimmingly, but you need to keep up with class. Soon I'll have one of their early assignments in, and my GSI really helps with the weekly or leads the weekly responses. Let me give him full credit where credit is due. Yeah, so that leaves me some space to coordinate a really robust lab, getting them mileage for carpools because the city is an hour away from our university town. Next is my service to the profession. I decided to color it purple just because it was the next pen I grabbed a week ago. Proposal submissions are due tomorrow, and then I needed to email the team for meeting scheduling. And then finally, last but not least, oops, I'm throwing pens across the desk. I'm using a green friction pen in order to work on my writing ever so slowly. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and so it is also very important. All right, so what you do is on Monday, or what I did, not what you do, but what I did was on Monday, I jotted down what needed to be done. I needed to do my chair notes, still need to do it, and need to hurry up. Everybody's going to get something in the middle of the night. Between the winter weather and family obligations and just being this busy, listen, I'm doing what I can as I can. I finished my applications, and then I emailed the editorial assistant, and I followed up with our lab site partners. And so I was able to finish all that because I just knew I couldn't do 6 things on Monday because finishing up the applications, or that took a lot of time. It takes days and days and days to read through applications and to do due diligence. And so this was my crunch time because I needed to pass things on to faculty colleagues. So I only gave myself 4 things to do, and only 2 of them were substantive. The rest were pretty, quickly done. Then Tuesday, you really can't read this, but this was an almost all chair day because Tuesdays I have meetings. I meet with my program manager. We have a one-on-one every week, and there were lots and lots of follow-ups to do. And so I, had my Tuesday list. Then Wednesday, And what I generally did was I would throw new task dump items up here, and then I would chunk them out on the date. So you can tell Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like for a lot of people, and across various professions, the beginning of the week is always busy. I had lots of emails to do on Wednesday. Wednesday this term is my catch up day because I teach on Thursdays and Fridays. My course meets on 2 days. It's a 5 credit hour course. So they have to meet 5 hours every week. All right. Now, this is just a bunch of stuff I had to do. And I don't know necessarily that, again, there was nothing super secret here. So, I mean, I may blur it later or feel remorse, but I don't think so. I think it is important for you to actually see what professor life actually looks like beyond, oh, they just teach a class or they're just running around or it takes a long time for them to answer back. No, we're doing 1,001 different things, just like a lot of different people across professions. Um, Thursday, I taught. It was super cold Thursday and Friday, so we pivoted. But so I got a lot of email done, made some calls. I did teach, but you notice none of my teaching and meetings are here. Again, none of my meetings and teaching is here. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to go grab my workhorse just so you can see what corresponds here because I think it would be illustrative. And I do think that this will help you understand why, for me, the two planner work system worked. So you did see this in my last video. This is my January planner. I'm probably going to take this off at the end of the week because this is sort of the page marker, but I just said this is a nice transition into February with Valentine's Day. Everybody always does roses for Valentine's Day. I know. All right, I am going to move to, let's see, let's grab the agenda. So I am, you saw how I tabbed that so I could get to things pretty quickly. This was last week. Oh, I do think this was the right week. Yep, this was the right week. So here we are. And if you look, these are my actual meetings. So I did a big quote from Martin Luther King's, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice, especially given everything going on. I thought that was amazing. But this is just me listing what I do every day or have to do. All of this stuff in my grab and go workhorse planner. These are all things that other people are expecting me to do. So again, if I don't show up at my sorority or Eastern Star meeting, someone will text me or, hey, I was looking for you, or where are you? If I don't show up to an advising meeting, or if I don't go to a meeting with my counterparts, or if I don't go to, if I don't do chair notes, if I don't show up with my program manager, if I don't go to therapy, if I don't teach my class, or if I don't show up at, a hair appointment, this book or this plan is all about stuff that people are going to be looking for from me. So this is a mirror, a decorative mirror of my Google Calendar. So everything in here is on my Google Calendar, just about. Not the quote, of course, but everything in here is on my Google Calendar. What I needed in order to stay sane and serene was I needed to have a system for everything I needed to do that was not showing up on my Google Calendar and was not reflected in my horizontal weekly. Good people, this Ivy Lee method was that girl, is that girl. And you see why I needed her to be HP Classic. You see the vision. You see how much stuff I had to put on here. I was not able to use a smaller size for this because I am going to do this again this upcoming week. So you see the vision of it. from this past week. I'm really happy that I got to just about everything here. I got to inbox zero until people started emailing me on Saturday, overnight Friday and Saturday, but that was really good. I want to show you what I am going to do this week. This is blank. It's Monday night because I did have my nephews. I am going to move Mr. Stanley. So, Mr. Stanley, you got to go. And Mr. Martinelli. Mr. Martinelli can go after I took a big swig of apple juice. Okay, so this is what I had on this double page spread before I started filming. So what was happening was I knew I had a bunch of stuff to do before. So I put it on the Cricut board so I could transport it downstairs. But I have been throwing Post-its on the next week all week. But the lovely thing is, I'm able to, before I started filming the video, I sorted things out into my categories that you saw earlier. So let me grab what I got to grab that key because remember, we're going to stay with the key. And I want to start planning with you for the week and then give you the full update. If I can find what I did with my key. Oh, I know what I did with it. Here, hold on. I have to lift up the Cricut board. There's the key. So if you look, this is my key. So I understand what it is that I'm looking at. And so now I can go in, good people, with my pens and I can now plan for, let's do this. I can now plan for the week of January, today is the 26th, through February, I think, yep, today is the 26th, and we're going to end up with February 1st. So this last week was the 19th through the 25th. Let me make sure that's right. Go back to week. Yep, 19th through the 25th. And so now for this next week, I am going to have, and you can barely see this, basically where you're supposed to put the date. So it's pretty easy. So I'm going to do 1/26 through 2/1. Okay, so this is the week that I'm planning for now. All right, now I know this looks super messy, but I want you to catch the vision for it here, okay? So here's what we're going to do. The first is the E&E stuff that I'm going to do for my program. So I need to do two things. The first is I need to do the admissions review meeting. So again, this is, this is going to look really messy. Let me make it look pretty. So, and then I'll grab the Post-its. I forgot, we planners are aesthetic. We want to make it look pretty. Okay, so anyway, but you see what I was doing. What I was doing was I was putting all the Post-its so I would not forget things so I could set up my task list for this week. So the first task that I will do this week is I need to do run the JPE admissions review and faculty meeting. Listen, good people, this is not my best handwriting. You've seen how gorgeous things can get. I am just trying to get it all down on paper. This is a purely functional planner. The prettiness is going to, I guess, come from the Murakami-like color, but I am not concerned about that. I am just trying to get through everything. The next task I need to do, it's not really a task, is I need to send one of my former mentors, who is a colleague of mine, Carla O'Connor, was just elected to the National Academy of Education. I want to send her a congratulatory card because it is a huge accomplishment, is the highest honor you can get in our field. And she was a dissertation committee member and, works elsewhere on campus, but I really value her. I'm going to leave a few spaces blank here. I learned from last week just because there are always several matters arising. So now that I'm done with this, I can get rid of or recycle those post-its. So that's done. And so is my black pen. Let's see what we have next. The next on my key is teaching tasks. So I have a few things I need to do for teaching. Skipping down a few rows in the grid. Uh-oh, going to sneeze. It's super cold here. I'm not sick. It's just super cold. All right, so this is teaching blue ink. And I have a few things that I need to do. I need to meet with my division chair and ask her some questions. So let's skip 3 rows. And then I'm going to place, well, maybe I'll skip more than that just because I know I'll have a ton of things that'll happen over in JPE. Okay, so for teaching, I need to meet with, I'm going to just abbreviate her ACB, and that'll be Thursday. But one thing that's helping me with the Ivy League task system is that I don't necessarily need to pick up this task until Thursday. I have 3 touch points throughout my week where I can figure out, okay, so just because it's earlier up here, it doesn't mean that I will be able to do anything with this, because during our meeting, I need to talk about 3 things. I need to talk about Ed 490, which is a course that I'll be piloting in 27. I need to talk about the Institute for the Humanities and linking with them. Again, none of this is secret. I just think that it's really important for, before I get to the confidential part of my world, which will be after admissions, that people see what it is that we do. I want to talk about that. So I want to talk about that fellowship for 27, 28. I'm thinking about going on or taking my sabbatical, but I don't know, given everything going on, if I'll be able to do it. People always talk about professors not working. And sometimes, for a lot of us, even at these elite research institutions, we're so busy. Currently, I'm chairing 7 dissertations, I'm on a bunch of other committees. You have to really strategically time out when you'll have a sabbatical, and you cannot, at my university, you can't just go on vacation for 4 months. You have to send the university a sabbatical report and talk about what your deliverables are. So you're doing independent research, and you had better have something to show for it. So it's quite serious. And then finally, I want to see about running my really popular Detroit course annually. And I don't know what they'll say. There are a lot of electives, so maybe that won't happen. Again, I'm being super transparent in a way that a lot of professors wouldn't be. And because, some of our work can be sensitive. I then want to pick up, oh, look at what I did, y'all. Look at what I did. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But no worries, because guess what I can do? You already know. I can, because remember, this is friction. You see, I wrote on the wrong page. I turned over too many. I can both transfer this over because I want it to be continuous from the last page, and I can move this or erase all of this. So let me speed this up while I do that really quickly. So we're going to do the admissions review and the faculty meeting. So I have to run that. Last week I did the agenda, so everything should be all set unless, there are items, of course, to be added. Then I want to send COC a congratulatory card for the National Academy of Ed. And then I'm going to skip down. I'm going to meet with ACB Thursday. And it's going to be about Ed 490, Institute for the Humanities, Fellowship, and it's going to be Ed 313 every year. Okay, all right, so I've copied everything over, and now it is my great pleasure to use the Pilot friction pen. This is why we use friction pens, because as you see, I know I'm shaking the camera, shake, 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 but I'll have the ghost of what was here, but this can go right behind the sheets that I'm using. And then so how the friction pen works is it works through friction. Like literally, this ink is sensitive to friction. Now, I have heard if you live in really, really hot places, you have to be super careful. You also have to be super careful about leaving this stuff out in the sun. However, for my purposes for now, this is just going to work perfectly. I really am not so worried about it. So, all right. So now we're back. I need to. The reason why I figured out that I had done the wrong thing is that I need to copy um, my logistics stuff for my lab. So for Ed 792 lab, I need to check on Feb 6. Oops, it's Feb 6 logistics because we're going to go on the 6th. So Feb 6 logistics. And I'm going to do MCA and DIS. And my contacts are J and then maybe Ben at MCA. And then for DIS, my sister Lori, Jason, who's almost like a brother, and Nikki, who is literally a sister, Eastern Star sister. So they're, I'm going to embed students in some of these really cool Detroit organizations. So I'm really excited about that. And I also still need to check on carpool and mileage, um, check on carpooling, carpools, and mileage reimbursement. Although I may just get us a bus. I'll have to decide. Reimbursement or just bus. Because sometimes it's just easier if we all go together. All right. So I think I have everything I need for the teaching area. Okay. So the next is, oh, see, I found something else from I found something else from my chair work. I tell you, it never ends. Um, it just never ends. I need to pull exams. So let me put that here. See, I left some room. I learned from last week. So I need a repository, but it needs to be digital. We have a analog repository we've been keeping for decades of recent milestone exams. Stone exams. And I'm going to put this is Tuesday, my meeting with ZT. That's my program manager. So now I'll know to do that. And next, okay, we can unclick these two for now. The next is Rutledge. So we have that big volume that is set to go. And so I need to print out my task list for Rutledge. So I'm going to put that over here. Print, post, retreat, task list. Okay. Then I am going to, let's see here. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all for that. And then, list priority tasks, priority tasks. So I have a long task list, but what I can do I'll do this off screen. What I'll do here is I will list my priority tasks. So I have a number of, and I'll just do in honor of the Ivy League system where you just do 6 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're just going to do 6 priority tasks, and that will be for Rutledge for this week. I've already had my meeting with my editorial assistant, so I'm not going to put that here. Technically, you're supposed to do your meetings on Sunday nights, and then sometimes things don't work out. I'm going to put NCTE over here because, and it's really, I have 2 things. First, I'll say NCTE proposals due Tuesday. And then I'm going to say, this is another organization I am part of. We were invited by the president, this year's president, to put together a presidential panel on children's literature. And this fall was just, no one had any bandwidth to do it. So I'm scrambling alongside my colleague in order to get it done. So insofar as much as I can, I'm going to try to get to this tomorrow as well. So yeah, so that is, I would say now I need to change my key because I also have AERA, and I probably will have my other org, which is CHLA here. And there are a couple of things I need to do for them. Okay, so that is for my professional organizations. And then finally, well, not finally, I need to get to what I need to do for my personal, for the personal, not personal, sorry, and for everyone, some trees full. I should just say those are my writing tasks that I'm trying to chunk out better, or, the stuff that, got me the job I have. So the first is I want to finalize my talk, finalize rare books talk. So I'm giving a talk this week for Illinois, University of Illinois's rare books room. And so I want to finalize that talk. It's a refinement of a line of research I've been doing for a while. And then I want to start a book that my family, I'll talk about this in future videos, but we rediscovered a branch of our family and learned that our ancestors have done some really extraordinary things. And there's a book, oops, silk press hair over there. There's a book, and my sister's already read it, and I need to read it. And then I also need to start my annotated bibliography for Some Trees Float. I've been writing things here or there, but I haven't really buckled down as I should. Okay. Okay, so we have that. And now, last but not least, I have a bunch of personal tasks. And for now, personal is all in black. So I'm going to go back to the black pen. And so today, one of the things that I did today was I scheduled, I had junk pickup, but I need to schedule shredding. So let me skip down and perhaps I'll do this up here because I was saying over the weekend, they were like, this weekend on the weekend priorities. I guess, I don't know, because I just worry I might have more to add here. Let me just go with this because these are all things I need to do for my, and I might, so I need to, I have planner stuff I have to do. Gotta put that aside. I need to schedule shredding. You can only do it between, at the company I use, you can only do it between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So I want to write that down. I need to schedule a fitness consult with my, a potential personal trainer. So schedule fitness consult. And the personal trainer who one of my colleagues works with is Lisa. I'll do that ASAP. It needs to be this week. So if I put it there, it'll get done. Let me do that over there. I need to call my HOA about three things. HOA about one, there was a mistake with my payment, and I want to go ahead and do that by phone. I want to ask about the condo insurance type, and I need to get the new ACH form because I've had some changes with that account. I also have insurance meeting. So insurance, and I want to do home and auto. One home, two auto. I had some meetings last week. I also need to set up schedule a tax appointment because it's about that time. I like to do it before or during spring break. And then, although you can't see it, last but not least, I do like to schedule my planning stuff. So I need to finish up my creative journal for January. I'm trying to figure out the catch-all planner. That is the only planner in my system that I'm kind of, I'm not really sure. And I'm wondering if it's something that I will abandon because I'm doing pretty well in the four planners that I'm in. I'm actually actively in four planners. I am in this workhorse planner. I am in the project planner. I showed you the daily planner, and it's really a repository for stickers, and it's a junk journal. It's a really not cute junk journal. And then finally, I have my creative journal. And well, there's a faith planner too, which is more occasional. So I don't know whether or not I'm going to put a big question mark here, but I know that I need to do these three. And so I've already gone through Monday, so I've already done some of this stuff. So I'm kind of cheating a bit. Let me put down what the dates are, just so I'm all set for the week. And I want to say what I did on today. And then I am going to, oops, you should be able to see what I'm doing here. I know it's hard because I'm not zooming in. I really want to show you the whole setup and how easy it is. So this is 131 and 2-1. Okay, the weekend. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. You know that meme. Okay. So now we're on this side of things. Let me zoom in so you can see it. We're almost done, good people. I am pretty excited about it. Let me zoom. All right. So today what I did was I really was excited to get January junk removal. My mother and I are decluttering the home, and sometimes you just have to call the junk removal service and just have them get out of, get things out. So we did do that first thing. I did meet with my editorial assistant, shout out to James. He's, just really been essential for us being able to be on time with that deadline. So he's not up here. If I had done my due diligence and written out everything, I would have, this would have been a task to schedule. I did meet with my second year, so I had a second year exam meeting. That was good. Um, oh wait, nope. See, it's good to stick to it is good to stick to the color codes. I know I'm not being very systemic, and it is because I did finish a bunch of junk today. Charge it to babysitting in the snow. So, okay, I did an SYE meeting today, so that was part of my chair work. I did an MCA meeting today. Okay. And then I also did a meeting for my and for everyone book or related to that. And I'm going to have to say reschedule because it ended up being me and the chair talking because so much is going on that we just ended up having a more informal conversation. So, because I'm not leading that, again, that's more something that's going to be in my Gore course planner, but just to show you some of the things I did today. So, yeah, I think that was what I did today. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's it because I think everything else was canceled. It was those four. All right. So tomorrow, I need to send that congratulations, send congrats card, and literally it needs to be something that I um, have so I can check it off. Otherwise, if you're this busy, you forget things. That's what I was finding. Then next, I need to do a repository of those exams. So, exam repository. Okay. Next, this is Thursday. Do you see what I'm thinking? I could check on the carpools and mileage for the class. Check on carpools versus reserving transportation. I'm thinking about reserving transportation just because the weather has been so terrible, and it might be good to just be all together and not have to take individual cars. The biggest task for tomorrow is that NCTE proposal deadline and the AERA NCTE proposals and ARA Children's Literature Panel. Okay, and let's see, who else could I do? Let's see. I think that I could list my priority tasks. I literally need to list Rutledge priorities. So I think that's it. Priorities. No, actually, nope. I need to finalize that talk. The talk is Wednesday. I need to rehearse my talk. So let's see. Rehearse Illinois talk. Do you see how this system helped to bound what it is that I will do tomorrow in between the 5 meetings I have? Like, so anytime I have a 30-minute to an hour block, I can just pop into this Ivy League list. I mean, it's so simple and so amazing. But then I know that on Wednesday, I can go over to, let me see if you can see it. No, you can't see it. I can go over to the post retreat task list. So I can say Rutledge tasks. Oops. You know what? Sometimes this is why we love the disbound because you can pull things over. So let's move this over. Rutledge tasks. pull priorities. Oops. Priorities. I need to pull out the priorities for Rutledge. Okay. Next, so Rutledge tasks, we pull out the priorities. And remember that's here. Okay, I need to uh, I need to the final thing is going to be the Illinois talk, which is in the evening Central Time. So that's number 6. Let's see. Going back to what's up here, what could I do? I really could schedule the shredding. So let's go back up here. Schedule shredding. And then I know I'm going to have my insurance meeting. And HOA. I think I should just do this stuff because other than the Illinois talk, I'm going to be working from home on Wednesday. So I'm work from home while the weather is bad, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I do teach in person on Thursdays and Fridays. So it's yeah. So this will work. Good people, I'm so pleased with this prioritization system. And as always, because all of these are friction erasable pens, let me come out of center stage. All of these are friction erasable pens. And so I am able to just erase. I'm going to keep up with this and I'm going to let you know how things go. Right now, this system is really saving my life. Just taking an hour on a Monday or a Sunday. It seems like Monday just seems to be my day to do this. Sunday really is for family in my, in my book. So either Monday evening, it just, look, this is just incredible. I am so thrilled. I am so pleased at this system. And oh, one last thing. I need to take this week out and I need to move it over to this week. And I know this is going to be dynamic. This will change. As soon as I get to campus tomorrow, I'm going to have 1,001 items to put here that I haven't thought of. Good people, thank you so much for bearing with me. I know this project planner video was really long, but I'm hoping that I am actually providing something of quality so that if you happen to be in the middle of a busy season of your life, that you're able to flourish with some of these tips. And again, I am so pleased to be with you, to be able to bring you this content. I'm so thrilled. I can't believe that I'm almost at 500 followers. I'm like, really? What? This is incredible. As always, Mr. Stanley held me down. Oops, no, Mr. Martinelli held me down. This really is apple juice. Mr. Stanley was the accompanist, and I still have not sold the Murakami agenda or pencil case. Maybe that'll be my next running joke. All right. Well, I think that's all for stories and stationery this time. I am so pleased to be able to bring you this content just about every week. Please stay tuned for much, 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 much more, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.